Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the recent Starbucks controversy. This week there's been a lot of funny things going on at the coffee shops across the country. There's been arrests, protests, people getting free coffee, all kinds of shit. And this all started when, apparently, a couple of young black men were hanging out in a Starbucks in Philadelphia. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Something like that. Things seemed pretty normal for these two guys in this situation, until they asked to use the bathrooms, which were locked and only available to paying customers. That's right, these two guys were just sitting in there all day, not buying anything, and they expected to use the store's services for free. And, well, when they couldn't use the bathroom, they threw a little fit. The manager then asked them to leave, but they refused, so the manager was forced to call the cops to have them escorted out of there. And not only did the guys refuse to leave Starbucks when first asked by the manager, they also refused to listen to the police, who asked them to leave too. This led to them being handcuffed and forced out of the place, which is to be expected. I guess we should also just expect black people to not listen to police at this point. We've seen it time and time again. Anyway, this story doesn't sound too uncommon, really. Not yet. People get removed from restaurants and stores all the time, but these two black guys decided to try and turn this into a media circus. How, you might ask? By claiming the Starbucks was being racist to them, of course. They shot videos, sent out tweets, and talked with news stations and everything. And before you know it, the news and social media were having a field day with this story. Starbucks was branded racist across the whole damn country. In fact, it got so out of hand, black people started trolling the stores and demanding free coffee for being black. And Starbucks completely caved in and gave it to them.
Yeah, I heard you guys don't like black people, so I wanted to get my Starbucks reparations voucher. What's that?
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing.
I mean, I'll give it to you. I saw that on my Twitter last night. I was like,
Yeah, I need a free
I'll
coffee.
give you a free coffee.
That's what I'm talking about.
There was even a Starbucks challenge which started online. People were making fake coupons and apologies on the company's behalf, and some of them were pretty convincing and actually worked. It's been a whole big shit show that, in my opinion, is rather overblown and completely unnecessary. So for today's videos, we're going to look at some media coverage that came out about this story. First, we're going to look at a more reasonable take from Fox News in a video called Starbucks to Close Stores for Racial Bias Training. Check this out.
Starbucks under fire after this arrest of two men, black men, in Philadelphia at one of their stores last week.
I want you guys to take a look and note what these guys are wearing. They're not totally thugged out or anything, but this guy's wearing sweatpants with his strings out and everything. I'm just saying, remember this, because later on they're going to claim to be having some sort of serious official business meeting there. But when you see the video, they don't look too ready for it. Not very professional at all. Just saying.
The coffee giant now announcing a bold move. It's going to close more than 8,000 stores on May 29th and risk losing millions of dollars to train their employees on racial sensitivity. But will it pay off?
To put it simply, no. This will not pay off for Starbucks. They're going to be bleeding money if they keep trying to placate and give in to the SJWs. Sure, it's the nice thing to do, telling everyone you're not racist, doing the training and everything. This sounds well thought out in theory, but radical leftists will never be happy here. You give these racists an inch and they take a mile. We all know that.
Who knows, Steve? I mean, do we really know all the details around that? I keep coming back to businesses can do what they want. There are many places that say no shirt, no shoes, no service, or we reserve the right to refuse service to whomever.
Glad to see a base black man on here telling it like it is. We don't have enough details to tell the whole story. Not yet. And we certainly, without a doubt, have no proof of racism here. Not on Starbucks' part. They simply kicked out some squatters at a store in Philly. They could have been black, brown, white, or purple. Skin color wasn't really a factor at play here. The real facts on the ground out there were much simpler than some supposed systemic racism on Starbucks' part. No, what we're talking about is simply two grown-ass men who wouldn't listen to a manager of a store when asked to leave. And then when the cops came in, they wouldn't listen to them either, so they got arrested, dumbasses. Starbucks didn't get them arrested because they're black. They got themselves arrested for acting stupid.
This was an isolated incident. Starbucks has 8,000 stores, 175,000 employees, and this is a single incident that probably should have been encapsulated in that single incident. I was saying to the producer earlier, if these are two white guys, I'm not sitting here and we're not having this discussion.
Exactly. If these men were any other color, this wouldn't even be an issue. And if they weren't liberal, indoctrinated, perpetual victims raised by single mothers, they wouldn't think everything is racist all the time like this.
We did an estimate. It's going to be at least $20 million to give this free day to employees so they can go through millions of dollars of social justice training, sensitivity training that the overwhelming majority of these people don't need.
Oh God, this social justice training sounds like a nightmare. I would not be able to take shit like that at my job. And being a barista is hard enough at Starbucks. Now they gotta worry about being called racist or sexist all the time? Don't serve a white person slightly faster than a brown one, that could be called racist. And don't offer a woman a cup holder so the hot coffee doesn't burn her. She's not weak. Women are as strong as men. Now you're a sexist. I can just see all the future offenses and possible problematic situations Starbucks could be accused of here, and it's not looking good for them.
Racism against blacks is ridiculous. In Philadelphia, that's a city that's overwhelmingly black. That anybody looking at Starbucks and say, how many other blacks are there in the store? How many people, how many blacks go to Starbucks daily? I go, even though I don't necessarily like it. I've never been mistreated, and many other blacks go to Starbucks and aren't mistreated.
Yeah, I doubt the Starbucks in the black-dominated Philadelphia could really get away with being racist all the time. If they were, we would have heard about it before this. This really just sounds like a one-time slip-up to me. One that wasn't even based on racism to begin with. There's literally no proof of any racism here. The only thing that argument has going for it is, these guys are black. And apparently that's all it takes for SJWs and radical leftists to bring out their pitchforks and start a hate mob. Next, I want to take a look at some coverage on the other side of this story. ABC News and our good buddies at Good Morning America, they released a wildly different take on this situation in a video called Men Arrested at Starbucks Speak Out. Check this out.
1 week ago today, they were there for a business meeting when the manager called 911. They wound up leaving the store in handcuffs. The video viewed nearly 11 million times, leading to protests, anger across the nation. I spoke with Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson and their attorney, Stuart Cohen, earlier this morning.
Oh, they were at a business meeting, you say, wearing sweatpants, hoodies, and gym clothes for a business meeting at Starbucks. Okay, you really expect us to buy that? Let's see where else this story goes, though.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. It has been quite a week.
Jesus, can this host be any more dramatic or over the top? Listen to this over the top huff she gives here again.
It has been quite a week.
Relax, lady. They just got kicked out of a Starbucks. They weren't shot or skinned alive. There wasn't a lynching here. And as for the media circus they've gotten into, well, that was started and perpetuated by them themselves. They are not the victims here as much as you want them to be. If anything, these guys are in the wrong. Actually, certainly, they're in the wrong for sure. And Starbucks is the victim right now. Starbucks was invaded and squatted upon by these two doofuses. And now left-wing media shows like Good Morning America, they're trying to turn the whole country against the company.
Dante, you both walk in. You get a table. Rashawn, how long was it before you asked to use the restroom?
Immediately, as soon as I walked in. And she stated that they were for paying customers only, and I just left it at that moment.
And the response was, you have to buy something.
Yes.
That's pretty standard at stores and restaurants, especially if it's in a busy area. They just can't let everyone use the bathrooms all the time. And if you didn't buy anything, you sure shouldn't feel entitled to the store's amenities. The water, seating, air conditioning, internet, and bathrooms included. No one has rights to use these. These are for customers only. Really, these guys should have just bought a coffee there. It would have cost them just $2 and they would have been fine and avoided all this. But no, instead, they were being cheap little assholes who not only refused to buy anything, but they also refused to leave when asked politely. And then after they got kicked out, they went onto the news and social media to cry about it. It's funny how these guys are enjoying this attention though. I'm sure they feel like they are doing the right thing here by serving justice to the evil Starbucks. Supposedly. Well, that's what they think they're doing at least. To me and to most sane people, we just see a couple of cheap asses who wouldn't buy a coffee for $2.
Then you go and find Dante. You're at the table. What happened next?
Does this motherfucker have gum in his mouth? Run that back. I'm pretty sure he's smacking gum around in his mouth. On live TV. Can you get any more trashy and classless? I'm glad these bums at least put on their finest polos for this TV appearance though. The sweatpants and gym clothes they had on before for their business meeting wouldn't have worked. But it's funny they went to that effort and put on the glasses and stuff, but he still has gum in his mouth. That or he's just smacking his mouth really loud and annoyingly.
According to 911 accounts, a call was placed at 4:37, approximately 2 minutes after you arrived, to 911. What did you think when you saw police arrive, Dante?
I think you're leaving out the part where the manager asked these guys to leave if they weren't going to buy anything. Those seats could have been needed for paying customers. Regardless though, a store manager has the right to refuse service to anyone. No shirt, no shoes, no service. And you certainly don't have to serve people who aren't buying anything. Now maybe you can sit around in some restaurants, and I know a lot of Starbucks encourage that too, but more importantly, if you're asked to leave, you should still go. And if you refuse when asked, don't be surprised when security or police come to carry your ass out of there. I mean, this whole thing sounds a little sketchy if you think about it more. Two black dudes in hoodies come in and take up 2 tables. They don't buy anything and they even bring their own drinks in with them. Then when you ask them to leave, they say no and just sit there? That sounds like trouble already. I wouldn't risk it either. And as it turns out, the manager was right. These guys were trouble. Also, I don't trust this little timetable Good Morning America is giving the story here. They are the same show that still has a report up about the bully hunters thing, as if it was a real thing, even after it was quickly exposed as a publicity stunt that weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if Good Morning America was duped here too. Or more accurately, I think Good Morning America and this black host want to believe this. They want to side with these guys because they're black, and this story helps push their SJW agendas.
Well, initially, as soon as they approached us, they just said we have to leave. There was no question of, was there a problem here between you guys and the manager? What happened?
It doesn't look like you're listening to the police either, and I don't think the cops owe you an explanation. If police tell you to do something, you do it. End of story.
When you were arrested, did they tell you what you were being arrested for?
No, not at the time. He wasn't read any rights. Nothing. Just double lock, handcuffs behind our back, and escorted out and put into a squad car.
It's pretty obvious why you were arrested though. You were asked to leave and you refused. And then you refused police orders and got arrested. This is day one shit if you ask me. Everyone learns this growing up. I mean, who raised these guys anyway? Why didn't their single mothers tell them about this stuff? Probably because they were too busy sabotaging these boys in their upbringing. Their single mothers poisoned the well for them, for sure. Not only about males and father figures, but they also taught them to hate the police and authority figures because they're racist. I'd say if anyone's to blame for this, it's these guys, and next it's their shitty single mothers.
The facts speak for themselves. There's not a single witness that says that these young men were misbehaving in any way, and you can see and hear that on the video.
Wait, what? Starbucks called the cops because they were misbehaving. They were entering, sitting in, and occupying a space in a store they were not patrons of. Then when asked to leave, they refused. This is on the tape and this is misbehaving. And now they got this shitty lawyer involved so they can make a better case and also make some money off this. And this is another reason why they started this shit show to begin with. To cry racism and then sue someone for cash. Simply pathetic.
Well, the video has been viewed almost 11 million times, and part of it, Dante, you can see that you're talking to the police officer. What were you all saying to one another?
This guy is chewing gum. Confirmed. I mean, do we need any more proof that these guys are a couple of classless, petty, wannabe famous extortionists? He doesn't even have the decency to spit his gum out before going on live TV. That really says a lot.
It didn't really hit me what was going on, that it was real, until I'm being double locked and my hands behind my back.
Dante, did you at some point?
It should also be noted that neither of these guys were wearing glasses in that Starbucks video. This one puts them on for the news though, and is putting on this fake front to be serious and businesslike for Good Morning America. Too bad no one told him to spit out his gum, which completely contradicts this whole thing.
They walk over and they say you have to leave. I say, we're here for a meeting.
What is the business meeting about?
It's a real estate meeting.
Okay.
We've been working on this for months.
A real estate meeting? What the fuck does that mean? No real estate meeting of note is going to be held in this fashion at Starbucks. Not with 2 thugs wearing gym clothes. And certainly not with a couple of dummies who aren't smart enough or don't have enough money to buy a $2 coffee to avoid this big mess.
What do you say to some people who say rules are rules, that Starbucks has a policy, you violated that policy, the police asked you repeatedly to leave and you didn't? How do you respond to people who say that?
What I say is I understand that. Rules are rules, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Come on, dude. You're not making sense again. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Well, you were the one in the wrong here, brother. Hate to break it to you. In the end, we've clearly got a biased left-wing hack job of reporting here, done by Good Morning America, once again. Shouldn't really be surprised at this point. In my opinion, these guys are just a couple of bums trying to make a buck off of suing Starbucks. A Starbucks buck. They saw this opportunity and now they're taking it. And the rest of the leftists and SJWs are jumping on board too. Starbucks almost has no choice but to try and fix things with this SJW sensitivity training. understanding, but I don't think it will work out in the long run for them. SJWs are never pleased. In fact, doing something like this to appease them just makes them smell blood in the water, and they come after you more. They'll just push for more and more, and let's face it, in a way, Starbucks was asking for this. They've always been this liberal, left-leaning, progressive kind of place, and we all know how the lefties like to eat themselves alive. And well, it looks like this is what's happening on their side once again. What do you guys think? Should these guys have been arrested for refusing to leave the store when asked? Do stores and Starbucks have the right to kick people out when they want? And will Good Morning America ever get a story right again? Ever? Comment your thoughts and everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.